All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Independent Podcast. My name is Fernando Garcia, and I'm here with Jake the Handyman. Jake, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Want to get an idea of, you're somebody who's local here in San Diego and Normal Heights, and you're very involved in the community. You're a small business owner, and these are the type of people that I love to talk to. I like to pick your brain about, what motivates you. What are some of the issues that you're worried about? So Jake, can you tell me a little bit about what, how you grew up? What are things that influenced you, and what got you to, be the person you are today?
Okay. I've been visiting San Diego since the 90s. We moved from the Bay Area, where I'm from the Northern California Bay Area.
Okay.
So I was born in California, grew up in Arizona, and then I like to say I was shaped in Oregon. But we've been visiting San Diego since the 90s, so I've always had an attraction to come here. Right. And I just moved here a few years ago. But growing up, my dad was a chair of a planning and zoning commission, a city planning and zoning commission, and he sat on a historic review board.
Oh, wow.
So I remember rushing home from school to watch him on channel 82 on the local, broadcast, and just watching in awe, not really understanding what's going on, but knowing that they're talking about something important.
Yeah.
So obviously I paid attention, and on the weekends, my dad would take us for drives around town and just be pointing out how the city's changing.
Yeah.
We're not any particular direction going anywhere, just checking out streets and new buildings and stuff like that. So I've always had interest in the way our cities are forming.
Nice. Yeah, it's weird how things that our parents, same thing with my dad. There are certain things that my dad did that I never picked up on when I was little, working on cars and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden as an adult, now I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Becoming our father.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me, you came to San Diego, and why do we call you Jake the Handyman? Where did
I came over here about 3 or 4 years ago, and the first whole year I, quote unquote, lived here.
Yeah.
I actually was driving back and forth between here and Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah.
I would come for a week at a time. I would surf all day and I would work all night. I was doing deliveries.
Okay.
When the pandemic happened, I was waiting tables. I was in fine dining for a long time as a wine tasting server, putting on events with chefs and stuff like that. So I was on unemployment for like 2 weeks. I just don't have the mind for that sitting around. So I was delivery driving, which was actually making good money. I would multi-app and make great money around San Diego, delivering at the beach and mid-city here.
Yeah.
But one night that money just stopped because I think everyone's pandemic money ran out and they stopped ordering. Seriously, literally overnight it was done. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Literally the next day, a friend of mine committed suicide.
Oh, damn.
And hi, Bentley.
Hey, buddy. Come here. Here's my dog. Come here, Bentley.
You're okay. You're okay.
This part I edited out. Come here, Bentley. Come here.
It's all good.
Awesome. So you got here. You came to San Diego. You started delivery driving, and then it dried up.
It dried up. People's pandemic money ran out.
Yeah.
That's seriously what happened. And literally the very next day, I'm scratching my head, wondering what I'm going to do. A really good friend of mine that I had been surfing with while I was here, he committed suicide. Wow. It was just a total shock to everybody. Nobody saw that coming. And funny enough, a mutual friend of ours knew I was looking for something new to do. And he reached out to the family and said, oh, call Jake. He's a handyman. So he calls me and tells me he gave me this referral. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm not a handyman. But I have had these skills my whole life. I've always had my hands on tools since I can remember. So I went over there and I was helping for a week, no charge, just helping. And while I was there, people were coming and going, asking if I could help too.
Wow.
And next thing I know, I had a full schedule. And I was like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
And the wife of my friend who passed asked me if I ever heard of the app Nextdoor, which I hadn't ever heard of. And I put myself on there, and it's just been nonstop ever since, almost 2 years later now.
That's awesome. And so are most of your clients in the Normal Heights area?
No. I'm all over San Diego. Okay. Most of my clients are definitely in the mid-city area, though. Yeah.
Nice. How do you feel being a small business owner? I mean, was that, I think there's a lot of, me myself being a small business owner, is that there's a lot of responsibility. You do feel a connection with how the economy's going, how your
yeah.
city's going.
Oh yeah.
You know,
you start becoming more mindful of all these things, for
right.
sure.
Yeah, definitely. Has that had a big impact on you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's also the best thing I've ever done for myself.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've not that I had trouble holding jobs. I just
Yeah.
get so bored with in the monotony, and
Yeah.
it's just so, you know, it makes you not happy. I just wasn't happy all the time. You know,
Yeah.
I could do it. I can work and pay the bills, but creating your own schedule, working for yourself, being your own boss, taking time off when you want, deciding who and where and what you do is the most empowering thing I've ever done for myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's definitely, as far as like making me more aware of, you know, the economy and our city and stuff like that, definitely. I think it's because I have more time to give to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you're running the rat race, you work, you clock out, you get prepared for the next day, and then recover on a weekend.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I enjoy every day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't work myself to death anymore. I make a decent wage. I'm able to pay the bills and put a little savings away. So I think it's a win-win.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that, as a business owner, are there things that specific that worry you here in the city of San Diego that are like, this is like something I really care about? Is there like one or two issues you can think about
relating to my business?
Or just in general, just as maybe just a citizen?
There's a lot to be concerned with.
Where
do I start?
Yeah. What are probably, let me see your top three maybe.
I think definitely my top concern is the city plan.
Okay.
I know they're in the works right now to update that city plan from the 90s and rezoning. But as we increase density, I feel like we're not addressing the common sense issues that go hand in hand with that.
Yeah.
You know, the infrastructure to support it.
Yeah.
The specific and individual community wants or needs.
Mm-hmm.
I fear we're about to adopt a generalized plan for the city of San Diego. I don't know if a lot of people are aware of this, but the population of mid-city since 2000 has decreased by 9%.
Wow.
So why is a 7-story hotel being proposed on Adams Avenue?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. A lot of people aren't aware of things like that.
Yeah.
You know, you would think the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're part of a planning group here in San Diego. I'm aware of planning groups, but tell my audience, why are planning groups important, and what made you want to be involved specifically in one?
Planning groups are essential. We're in essence a middleman between the community and the city. We do strictly though only advise to the city based on different projects, our recommendations, etc. But it's really something that I think is good for people who are building or proposing projects in our neighborhood too. You want to get community input. And like I said, watching my dad in these similar positions in planning and zoning, et cetera, like that. I wanted to get involved. I live right down the street from where the Mars project was being proposed. And I saw all the drama that will come with that and the things that weren't being considered. So planning groups are essential, I think.
Yeah, I've never understood why our politicians don't lean on planning groups more. You know, it just seems like a natural, you know, I start to see they lean more on their donors as opposed to the actual planning groups or just, you know, normal citizens that, you know, because I feel like the people who are involved in the planning groups, they're not just speaking for themselves, they're speaking for their neighbors. They're usually the most active people in the community.
Yes.
You know, their neighbors go to them, you know, for information.
And from what I understand now is the state of California looks, you know, this is my personal opinion. The state of California looks at local community planning groups right now, anyway, as a hindrance to their state goals, you know? And that's a tough thing that I've been investigating, you know, in my own time now and in my own mind. And is why sometimes it feels like what's happening in San Diego is a state is being mandated by the state, kind of, you know. Obviously our governor or state officials have goals, and are they just generalizing those California state goals to play a numbers game, or is there genuine interest in solving the issues we're facing?
Yeah.
And it gets real blurry sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What I know one of the things when we first met and spoke was homelessness, and just the issues that we're facing, with homelessness going on, because it just doesn't affect. I mean, it affects so many different people, or so many aspects of life. When you have people sleeping in the parks and playgrounds and on the street, and they're urinating and they're defecating on the streets. If you got little kids walking around, if you got a small business that you got a coffee shop you're trying to run or something, it has a big impact. And, I know in, Normal Heights off of Adams, sometimes there are some problems sometimes.
Just on the drive over here, I noticed at Ward Canyon Park, there's a few people set up tents, full shopping carts, ton of stuff, like a storage unit full of stuff, basically. But what was curious, I saw one of the gentlemen who was there just a few minutes ago, is he was cleaning the whole lot. He was brushing out the planting beds and stuff. So I see a somewhat capable person.
Right.
And I think I've experienced homelessness myself.
Yeah.
My mother has experienced homelessness.
Wow.
My elder brother is homeless now.
Yeah.
So I have firsthand experience with this, and my mind's just going here right now, but there is a solution to this, and this is solvable.
Yeah.
We cannot let this be part of a political game anymore.
Yeah.
Obviously, politics are involved, and they are necessary to solve it, but people are making money off this, man, and I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I have a big problem with that. Yeah. And for people like the guy at the Ward Canyon Park right now, I'm sorry, but you need to go into a shelter.
Yeah.
Because you are peeing there. You are defecating there. You are steps away from children on a playground who are 5 years and up. You know, like I frequent that park often with my girlfriend and her kid.
Yeah.
We see a lot of nonsense happening around there. And it's not from our local community members, which some of them are questionable. Yeah. But it comes from the people experiencing houselessness because they lack the resources.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
What are, outside of homelessness, what are some things that, we talked a little bit about kind of overbuilding that's kind of going on in certain areas. When it comes to building, I mean, what do you think? Do you think some building is okay? I mean,
absolutely. I am for responsible growth. Yeah, I am. And I think responsible growth, a lot of people might get turned off by that because they think it basically means no growth. Right. It does not mean no growth. Right. There are plenty of areas on El Cajon Boulevard and actually along major transit corridors that the infrastructure could support that. Yeah. But as far as trying to build it on Adams Avenue, you got to look at the infrastructure first. Yeah. You're proposing 175 units, little to no parking, basically. Mm-hmm. Water pressure is an issue. Street safety is an issue. The adverse effects of increased density should be concerning for everyone. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you have these like NIMBYs and YIMBYs with yes in my backyard, my backyard, no in my backyard. I hate those terms, but there's like a common sense middle solution that nobody really wants to talk about. I always like and I think we need to talk more about that, the solutions that are in the middle. Mm-hmm.
And that's where that's why my own passions for this have led me to this whole state motive. Yeah. Because the state has big numbers for houselessness and stuff. And my biggest problem with all this is that claiming this is going to solve things through this quote unquote affordable housing that's not, we all know is actually not affordable. Yeah. I have conversations and debates and arguments with a lot of people around Normal Heights, Kensington, the Mid-City area about everyone we encounter out on the streets, the people me and you and anyone else encounters on the streets, none of these folks are going to be put in any of this housing. Right. None of them. So good for you for providing 5 affordable units in your big building. Not a single one of them will be in it. Right. I do agree this affordable housing aspect can help prevent some families from becoming homeless and stuff. When we look at the numbers, I mean, this is just, it's out of hand and it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times, we have some of these housing that they call it affordable, but it actually costs a lot to make, and especially when there's a lot of not-for-profits right now that are making a lot of money. Yeah, and they tend to donate a lot to candidates. Yeah, and so that doesn't get talked about.
Yeah, and that's tough because you do need private entities to help with this issue. This is not going to be solved by the state alone.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah, definitely. And what are your thoughts on crime right now in San Diego? I mean,
oh man,
I hear a lot of different stories of people's feelings. What are your thoughts?
I say quit listening to the mayor and the news stations and just look at crime maps and look at statistics and look at live in real time stuff that's going on. Crimemap.org, something like that. I use a couple of them to look at almost real time. And it's out of hand. It is out of hand.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how much property crime there is and how much of it doesn't even get reported.
Exactly.
Exactly. People's cars getting rummaged through, and it's like, well, what am I going to call the cops for? It's already happened. They don't have enough time to catch them anyways.
I don't have complete. I don't have complete faith in our police department, not as individuals, but as our city service. But every morning I go to my car, I'm just crossing my fingers. My window's not smashed out, man. I haul my tools from my handyman company up and down the stairs every single day. I don't leave them out.
I hate when I hear somebody get their tools stolen.
I read a story about that today in our neighborhood.
Wow. That's just taking a guy's livelihood away.
It's constant. It's like constant. But there's a lot of theft going on. There's a lot of vandalism going on. We live, especially here, we're right between two major interstates, I-15 and the 805. So I feel like this is just an easy spot to get off in mid-city too and get right back on, go to LA or wherever you're coming from or going. So, but there's some gang activity here. Some of it's legit. A lot of it's kids, with no direction.
Yeah, definitely.
But I am concerned. We're all concerned with crime right now.
Absolutely. What are some other things that maybe I haven't gone over that you're concerned about that you really want to kind of be more involved in, or is there anything besides planning and homelessness and crime that worries you?
Oh, humanity.
Let's talk about.
I haven't lost faith yet, but I pay attention closely. My girlfriend and I, we're working on a project right now called Paranormal Heights.
Tell us about it.
Comic. So we've been talking about it for a long time, but it's all coming to fruition right now. We're working it on the first issue now. But it's basically, we're interested in getting people how to find creative ways to get younger generations interested, not only in urban city planning, but in all these issues that come with living in a densified area. So we're creating a story right now called Paranormal Heights, made in and based on Normal Heights. But basically a paranormal portal, an event, without spoiling it, a big event happens and a paranormal portal opens up and there's zombies and ghosts and UFOs and aliens. City residents and business owners start speaking out and they realize that their city leaders are aware of more than they're letting on. So we're taking it from there. But it's a lot of fun. I don't know if there's anything else I'm really interested in. I run in two businesses, man. So actually, I don't know if I've told you that I started Dynamic Mindset in January.
What is that?
Just because on Nextdoor in San Diego, if you search for a handyman, I'm the first one that comes up. I didn't pay for that. But I got an award recently for I'm a top 10 business on Nextdoor in the nation out of 2.5 million businesses. So I took that and realized like I'm onto something here. So I developed a formula, literally a formula. I know there's a lot of people offering coaching and business, all that. And what they do is they give you some information and they keep you dependent on them. I give you everything. I give you everything up front and I hold your hand along the way too. So I'm teaching people not only the art of booking clients, but how to keep that schedule full without spending a penny on ads. That's the key thing. I've never spent a dime on an ad. And I stay booked 4 weeks in advance for almost 2 years now.
Damn.
Nonstop. There's no slow season here.
Okay.
I hear that from a lot of business owners that reach out to me. Oh, it's just a dead time right now. There's no dead time here. There's millions of people. There's no dead time. So that's something I'm really interested in doing to help small businesses around here because all cities and this country depend on small business. Right?
Absolutely.
And I really enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy it.
What's it called again?
Dynamic Mindset.
Dynamic Mindset. Okay. All right. I'm
going to
check that out. Okay. And then, you had mentioned something about humanity. Do you think that humanity's, going in a good direction or in a bad direction? Or are we kind of stuck?
I don't look at it that way.
Okay.
I don't look at it that way. I think we're going in the only direction we can go.
Okay.
And, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but we all have to be on the same page. And I know for sure we all have to work together to solve these issues. Everything's about red and blue right now. It sucks, man. It sucks that we can't just talk and have debates. And, we can be passionate without being disrespectful.
Absolutely.
And create and, extreme.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, people are very tribal right now.
Yeah,
I feel like,
totally.
For a long time I was a Democrat, and on a personal level, I just started to see things differently, especially when I decided that I didn't want to be a Democrat no more. Didn't really feel like a Republican either, and even though I there's certain issues that I kind of line more with one side and the other, and but when I took that jersey off, I just felt like I can see things more clearly.
Yeah.
And, and it's kind of like when people talk about like addiction or something like that, you have to almost acknowledge it first, before, like, realize you have a problem before you can kind of face it. And then it wasn't until I realized, like, I have this issue of, I see things through a certain lens. And once I took that lens out and I can see clear, look at things from both sides. For me, the challenge though, like when somebody runs as an independent candidate, is the funding, because you haven't dived in one side or the other.
You're not committed.
Right. It's like they want somebody, whether like when it comes to housing, for example, they want either you're full on building as much as possible in order to get those donations, or you're part of an organization, or you get donations from where they're like, we don't want to build at all. So it's like you're this middle person that's looking for a solution, and nobody wants to fund those common sense solutions.
I feel lucky. I've never subscribed to be a Democrat or Republican. Yeah. I have always been registered as an independent, but that's just because my dad was. Yeah. But my dad really raised us to always, don't subscribe to things. Figure it out for yourself. You don't have to label yourself. Yeah. So I've always been independent.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. And I like, sometimes it's so hard to have conversations, whether it's COVID or, what's going on overseas or anything like that. And because I feel like everybody's trying to win a debate when I'm just kind of trying to have a conversation. Yeah. But
that's politics, man.
Yeah.
And that's life. It's so funny. We hear it growing up. We still hear it today. People say it. You can't make everybody happy. It is true, but there is a middle way or a middle ground where we can't all be content, though, I think, and not so complacent to where we let it fall apart, which is what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are so busy just surviving right now, man. I try. I'm willing to have these conversations with all my clients, and 95% of them I do, but there's a lot of that other 5%. They don't have time to talk about this, man. They're too busy surviving.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on the economy right now? Do you have any feeling about it?
I smell a recession.
Yeah, me too.
But not to sound cocky, but I am confident my business is recession proof, man. Yeah. People are always going to need help in the home to, get things done.
Yeah. And I also feel like, to your advantage, there is a lot of people who don't possess a lot of those skills anymore.
Yes. That's damn true.
Where, my dad and probably even your dad, where they could fix a lot of stuff on their own,
that's where I learned it all from.
Yeah. But a lot of kids are next generation, aren't really picking it up.
They're not building Legos as kids. That's why.
Yeah.
We built a lot of Legos, man. Yeah, we built a lot of Legos. Yeah. Like critical thinking and cognitive skills. They're super important. Absolutely. But I'm surprised every week I go out. I'm surprised like people need my help with certain tasks. Yeah. It's not just elderly who can't do it or something like that. These are capable, able, young people that still need help.
Yeah. Well, what as a hand, what's kind of like your most common? Is there like something that you do a lot?
I spend most of my time, believe it or not, doing light electrical stuff. Okay. I replace a lot of ceiling fans and light fixtures, outlets, and light switches. I'm not a licensed contractor, so I don't do the whole house or anything. Sure. I do small projects, $500 or less, non-structural kind of stuff. But I spend more time too, like assembling things, mounting things, hanging things, stuff like that. Yeah. A little bit of everything. Yeah. I'm a creative problem solver. Yeah. People call me when they have a real tough issue that requires an artist's mind.
Yeah. Have you, is the plan to get your contractor's license?
I'm just thinking about it.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about
that'd
it.
be nice.
You know, you need four verifiable
Yeah.
years of work experience doing that.
Yeah.
So even though I've been doing stuff like that my whole life, I'm
Yeah.
only in like almost 2 years into this business. But yeah, I thought about it. All the contacts I've made over these last 2 years with referrals and systems like that. I think it'd be cool to get that license and build homes one day. It's very lucrative, as you know.
Yeah.
But really, I have lately been surprised to find that my joy really does come from business coaching. I just love it. I don't know. I live for it. My dad was a program analyst for the Department of Defense. So at Marine Corps Air Station, he worked on basically anything the enlisted guys did when they weren't working.
Yeah.
He ran those programs. So he ran like the movie theater, the bowling alley, the child development. I mean, the little mini mart, all of them. He ran like 20, 30 businesses simultaneously. Wow. So again, that's like all he would always talk about, how businesses are structured, how they work, bottom line, numbers, you know. So I've always had a mind for that.
Nice.
And I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Just seeing other people grow, man, there's nothing more like rewarding than that.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I charge a really reasonable rate, but I still make money doing it. So it's like awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you ever thought about entering the political ring yourself?
Of course I have. Yeah, of course I have. Yeah, a lot of people encourage me too. To do so, but I've always, I always feel like I'm more valuable on this side of things. You know, in grassroots community activism, which I've always been a part of my whole life. Doesn't matter where I've lived. Everywhere I go, within the first year or so, I start really getting involved in my neighborhood, man, because I see these things are not right. You know. Paranormal, and I can't help but get involved. I just can't help it. You know, people. We need good communicators. We need people with good community outreach skills and community engagement. And that's my biggest motivation to join the Normal Heights community planning group. Is I want to get the public more interested in that process. Earlier, you said, you know, why it seems like they aren't relying, or they, you know, it's not as valued. Community planning groups aren't valued by the state anymore. And I know we said, you know, that's for a reason. It's because they look at us as a hindrance, and it doesn't have to be that way. Right. It really doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. And you know, it's nice that you know, the reality is there's not a lot of young people involved in community planning groups, which is unfortunate. There is a big older generation that's kind of going to be leaving that. I mean, you know, obviously here in Kensington, when you go to planning group, I mean, it's a lot of older people.
Same in our group. I've never been here to this group.
And really all of them, I would probably say. And
a lot of them too, they meet at like 12 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. You're like, what? Who can go to that?
Yeah. So it's good to, you know, if you're, you know, for people watching, if they're a young person and you want to get involved, I think planning groups are probably one of the best ways.
Absolutely. It's something great to put on a resume. It's a great experience too. If you are going into any kind of public engagement job or field or whatever, and involving anything to do with city development, it's a great way to get involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we need a more diverse board. We need more diverse boards to effectively represent the actual neighborhood. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Do you, outside of that, do you plan on getting involved in any other kind of organizations that are kind of passionate about? Is there any other ones that you?
Not really, man. Plate's full. Plate's full. You know, I was thinking about that before I came over here. Just like, gosh, like sometimes I just don't want to be involved with anything, man. I just want to live my life and be happy, man. It's kind of a double-edged sword because I know I won't be happy not being involved. You know. I just wish it was a little easier to work with everybody. I wish we could all get along and be reasonable and rational.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah, I sometimes think, you know, I go on vacation and I go on like on a beach somewhere and I go, man, I could just do this all the time and just forget everything else.
Totally.
But but I know I can only do that for so long before I'm like, I have a purpose. I feel like, and you know,
when I retire, I'll be able to do that. I'll just be making music and art and surfing and, you know.
So tell me about your music. What kind of music do you like to make?
I do a little bit of everything, actually. But I've been playing guitar for 22 years. I was like 14 when I started playing guitar. But I realized, within the last 5 years, I realized I was playing the wrong instrument my whole life.
Well, what was your
I finally sat at a piano and was like, oh man, because I play guitar like with both hands up on the fretboard a lot, picking and sliding and stuff, hammering. So when I went like this, I was like, oh, I got 88 strings now, man.
Yeah.
Within the first week of sitting at a piano, I could play everything I played on the guitar
Damn.
within the first week, just by ear. Yeah.
Wow.
So I knew I had a knack for it.
Yeah.
But I really do like classical music.
Okay.
I compose new age classical music. I don't play any covers.
Okay.
None.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was like a comedy night that you sponsored recently in Normal Heights.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
Abnormal Nights.
Tell me, what is Abnormal Nights comedy?
It's an awesome event put on by Alex Petit and McKay Bushnell, a couple of guys from the neighborhood here who, they were looking at the Adams Ave Theater closed down for months, walking by it, and they'll tell you the story. They would say like, "Oh, we're gonna do a comedy show there one night." So now they do, and they do it every month for over a year now. We've been going. Never been to a bad show. Been to almost all of them.
Okay.
But that venue is really awesome to have just down on Adams, man. Just to walk over to something like that. It's really cool. But they do a free show every month. All you got to do is reserve a ticket, basically. But it is free.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it BYOB?
No, they have a bar.
Oh,
they have an open bar.
Okay.
Yeah. You can grab pizza next door or whatever you want on Adams Avenue and bring it in. Bring your own food in. No charge for that. Nothing like that. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah. And with the Paranormal Heights, is that an actual comic book that you guys are putting together?
Yes. So we're planning to print it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it'll be digital and print, but I'm stoked for print. That's my priority, is to actually print it. So right now at Little Miss Brewing, in Normal Heights on Adams Ave, we have an 8-foot by 5-foot wall covered in high quality, unique canvas prints that are actually images from the comic. Yeah, and we're using 100% of the proceeds to print a physical comic. Wow. Yeah. Which is going great. We've replaced them a couple times now, so people are loving it.
Nice. Yeah. So you can actually buy one off the wall. Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're available right now. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna stop by and get one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That'd be great, man. Yeah. Appreciate your support. Yeah. Every penny will be used to print it.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's the future? Where's Jake at 5 years from now?
5 years from now? Gosh, man. I'm on the fence right now. Yeah. This handyman, it's paying the bills for sure, and it's very reliable, and I'm good at it, and I enjoy it. I get to do something different every day, so I just don't know. It is going to be either get that contractor's license, start building houses, making the real dough. Yeah. I'll just be logistics basically. Yeah. Of course, I'll on-site quality control, making sure everyone is where they need to be, but I won't be hammering any nails. Yeah. So that's intriguing to me, but the older I've gotten, man, for sure, your happiness is more important. And I would be way more happy as a small to medium sized business coach. Yeah. Honestly, helping people figure it out and watching them grow. It's awesome. Just super rewarding, man. I imagine it. I don't have any kids, but it's kind of like having a kid. Man. Just watching, they took the information you gave them and watching their sales or their number, whatever, go up, man. Yeah. It's just awesome.
Yeah. Well, I appreciated when we first met, when I was running for city council. You reached out and offered a hand to help. That was really meaningful. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah. I saw your intentions were genuine, so I wanted to see what you're all about.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I'd never heard about you before then.
Yeah, thanks, man. That meant a lot. Yeah. Well, hey, I wanted to invite you over for a quick conversation, and I want my audience to kind of know who you are. Cool. Because I do, I think you have a lot of potential as a business owner, as a pillar of the community, as somebody that the city of San Diego should come to for advice. Mm-hmm. I like how you're level-headed, common sense, and I think we need more of that. And if I can, I'm always trying to highlight people of our community that really stand out to me.
Me too. Me too.
And I appreciate the work you're doing, and I want to always maintain this relationship, and hopefully we can continue to work together.
Awesome, man. Yeah. We're all in this together, man. And there's so much we can do that we're not doing. Yeah. We just have to put these petty, differences of opinion aside and look at the bigger picture, because it's gotten real complicated. The more big a city is, the more complicated this is. Yeah. I tend, in my mind, when I try to look at solutions for problems, I imagine a little village instead, like 10, 20 people.
Right.
What are you going to do? Are you going to build more housing, or are you going to take care of the infrastructure? Obvious. Yeah. Do we need bike lanes in our little village or sewer drains? Right. What is the priority? It's really easy to look at that way. But when you have so many opinions and so much being brought to the table, it's hard. It's hard to decipher. It's hard to be fair. It's hard to be just. But I think we can do it. I think we can, make this America's finest city.
Absolutely.
But it is absolutely not America's finest city right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, how can, for people out there, and if they want to either get involved with Paranormal Heights or check it out, or, go, maybe they need Jake the Handyman. How would they reach out to you?
You could just search for Jake the Handyman on Nextdoor if you're in San Diego. Like I said, it will be the first handyman that comes up after the paid Thumbtack recommendations.
Yeah,
it's the first one. Or just on your Google browser, you can type Jake the Handyman San Diego Nextdoor, because there are some other Jake the Handymans out there. I don't know if they're active right now.
Yeah.
So that's on Nextdoor or on Facebook also, Jake the Handyman. You can call me directly.
Yeah, okay.
619-363-2274.
Nice.
For Paranormal Heights, we're Paranormal Heights SD on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. No official website funnel or anything like that. We're keeping it simple. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Jake, I want to say thank you again for coming out.
Yeah. Thanks for having me in your home.
And everybody go check it out. I'll put everything in the description. And always good for coming out. Thank you again.